welcome to the second episode of Talking in Circles with Titania Jordan, that's me, and Carl Newton, who is rocking the camera and the microphone boom. And of course, I've got a really awesome guest, Chau Nguyen of HireWire. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So we are on a Ferris wheel in the great city of which you launched an awesome startup. But before we get to that, I want everybody who's watching to hear about your amazing life. And before we even go into that, if you don't know about Chau, you need to know. He's kind of a big deal, and by kind of a big deal, I mean a really big deal. And you would never know that because he is so kind and humble, and he's the kind of leader that you want to work with in any capacity. So he may not bump himself up like he should, but I will. So take it away, Chau. Tell us about your cool, awesome life.
Yeah, that's quite the intro. So, I've been in Atlanta for 10 years, and about 10 years ago I started a company called Campus Special. So we were basically the Groupon and Grubhub for college kids before there was Groupon and Grubhub. And so that was my first company. I started it in LA, and then I moved it to Atlanta and set roots here with our headquarters. And we built that company up to be the largest college brand for deals and online food ordering in the college space.
Holla!
So that was good, yeah. So that was a good 10 years worth of work, and I was very fortunate at the end to be able to sell it to a public company. And so that was really exciting.
Can we talk about for how much?
Yeah, it was about 25 million.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was good first start. It was good, warm up. And
all I do is win, no matter what.
Yeah, I try to. But what was really neat about that was I learned so much, right? So normally you pay to learn, and here I got paid to learn. And I had such an education building a company from the ground up, bootstrap, just like had so much fun and failed a lot and won a lot, and at the end had a nice exit. So that was a good ending.
So how do you stay grounded after having such a huge win at such a young age?
Yeah, well, what's funny is, so what happens after you sell a company is that you think you're on cloud nine, you're invincible, and I remember for me, I retired for a little bit, and I basically spent all my time trying to figure out what do I do next, and reconnect with my family. I'm married, I have 2 kids, so I hung out with them, and I was doing all the things that you do when you're retired, like you're playing golf, you're drinking during the daytime at lunch. Like I always go out to lunch and I see these people drinking and I'm like, don't they have jobs?
Yeah.
And then that was me, right?
Oh my gosh.
So getting my nails done only once. And went on vacation, so it was kind of like everything you would think it would be. And I remember just my wife and I were hanging out, and she finally looks at me and she's like, it's day 14, you gotta get out of the house. So yeah, so that was humbling because I decided, you know what, it's not over and I gotta go back to work and go do something great. But what really was awesome about the process was I had time to stop and not just do something meaningful that I was passionate about, that I was good at, that I think could impact the world. And I know that sounds very cliched, but
absolutely not.
When you have time to just do what you want to do, you can really think about like what matters to people and what can have like a huge impact, right? So my last venture was great because we had like 7 million people using our products, but those were college kids, right? So the real thing I wanted to figure out was how can we impact a larger audience in a more meaningful way, and that was jobs. So that's how HireWire got started.
Okay, so I had the honor to be a part of HireWire from the beginning. That was such a cool experience. So Chau's rocking the HireWire tee. HireWire puts Atlanta to work, love it. I'm rocking the Atlanta We Only Get Burned Once tee by Esperanza Tees, so I'm a big fan of startup tees, as you are as well. And by the way, if you're watching this and you want to send a tee to the show, leave a comment below and maybe we'll rock your tee on the next episode. So getting to HireWire, I mean, there is so much to cover here, but you're doing something groundbreaking, right? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so at my last company we hired 20,000 people, and so we got really good at interviewing and sourcing and going through that whole hiring process. And when you do it that many times, you realize this is broken, right? And if you think it's painful for people to find jobs, it's even more painful for the person hiring. And so this is a broken process that hasn't changed since like 1995, right?
Wow.
And so I knew intimately the pain points that surrounded hiring. And I knew that with technology, like with just simple modern technology, we could fix that.
Yeah.
And so I set off to go solve this huge problem. And oddly enough, when I saw Tinder. My friend had it. It was just research and development. I wasn't using it.
I had to sign up for it too. I understand.
Yeah. Although I do have it, but it's strictly R&D. And I realized, what's interesting is that this kind of new modern millennial worker and even non-millennials, they're very mobile. Everything's on the go. Everything's instant gratification. Everything is like very much digital. And when I saw Tinder, I realized that hiring is a lot more like dating than it is like filling out an application and waiting for a process. It's a very human process.
Yes.
So you need to be able to connect people with in a better way than words on a piece of paper. And so our initial inspiration was Tinder, and we have definitely evolved a lot away from that.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people know us as Tinder for Jobs, and that's really kind of what's resonated with our users.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best way to explain what it does. Let's talk about your traction, your grassroots efforts, your team. And what you would want to say to the people watching today, whether they're in the startup hustle and trying to figure out how you break through, whether they're going through some failures and wondering, am I ever going to win? Or just people who want to, get ahead and learn something.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if you start a startup, you're agreeing to do the hardest thing you could possibly do.
Ever.
And it will take longer, it'll be more painful, it'll be way harder than you could possibly imagine. But if you're passionate about it and you're committed to it and you love playing the game, then it's for you, right? And I think that that's kind of one of the big misconceptions, that today it's really cool to be an entrepreneur and start a startup. But that's like step one, and then step two and everything else is very painful along the way. And so I think that you have to find something you believe in, that you are passionate about. And so for us, we understood the problem. We were all in from the beginning, and we started with a team of only 4 people, and now we have 20. A year ago to this day, we had like 1,000 users. I was on your TV show, and we announced our launch, and we had 1,000 users. And today we have over 100,000 users here in Atlanta.
That's like, woohoo, raise the roof.
Raise the roof.
Inside joke, that's like my default. I'm uncomfortable and awkward. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to raise the roof.
And you do that all the time.
Oh
Anytime you're on TV, by the way. Just all,
Yeah, so there's that. 100,000 users. Like, that's a really big deal.
And what's neat is that's just Atlanta.
That's just Atlanta.
And so Atlanta's our test market. This is our home. And so it's a gift to Atlanta because we want to be able to, we want to build something great that can represent Atlanta. And I think that great technology companies can be built in the city.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're headquartered at the Atlanta Tech Village, a wonderful place. We're right by Switchyards Downtown Club. Got to give them some love because they're awesome as well. And just this city, the opportunity, the capital that it doesn't take to start up here versus, West Coast or New York City, and the community. And, it's such a big town, but it has that small town vibe. You know what I mean? Like, I can text you, and, like, we can just meet up for coffee, and there's no pretense. And that's something very special you cannot find, I don't think, outside of Atlanta. But let's talk about what's next. Like, you've got some big plans on the horizon. You recently monetized.
Yep.
Which is huge for any startup, so congratulations. So what's next? What can the people out there do to help you and HireWire continue to grow?
Yeah, a lot of our growth has been just word of mouth, which tells us that we're in the right vicinity of doing something right. People are talking about it, and so really it's just going out and telling people that there's a new way to get hired. Today we're just in Atlanta. We're expanding this year to different cities. We're really focused on the restaurant, retail, hourly, part-time vertical, but we're expanding industries quickly too. And so if you're looking for a job or you're hiring people, don't do it the old way. You don't have to go post a job and wait. You can view profiles, video, message an app, and what we're finding is people are getting hired in 24 or 48 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And that is like the new way to get hired.
And that's critical too for people looking for hourly work. Like, they can't wait a month to get a job. They need a job now.
Sure, absolutely. And I think too, for employers, they're so used to doing it the old way, there is a better way. And I think that the market is so ripe for disruption. The winner that takes the space, which will be us, is going to basically bring a product to market that is 10x better than status quo. And so all the things that people are doing today is, and are the incumbents in the space, will be disrupted by a market leader who comes in with something that's so much better that you'll never go back. And so we kind of compare ourselves to dating. So if regular hiring is like going on a blind date, HireWire is like the modern way to date, which is just finding people that you connect with that could represent your brand and connect them faster.
I love that. I love that. You nailed it. I think our ride will be coming to an end soon. So while you have this platform, is there anything else that you want to say to anybody listening out there? Because you drop some knowledge bombs on social, and I love them. So drop some knowledge bombs for us.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll tell a quick story. So my last company was completely bootstrapped, right? We raised no money at all, and that was kind of the old-fashioned way, right? And in this company, we raised $3.9 million in seed funding. So two different types of companies. And I think a lot of times people think, well, if I only had this, I could start a company. If I only had that, it actually isn't about raising capital or no capital, or I'm not in San Francisco or I am in Atlanta. If you've got something you're passionate about, that's a problem that needs to be solved, and you know how to solve it, go for it. And it's going to be hard, and you just have to chip away and grind and hustle, and it doesn't ever get any easier.
Yeah.
But if you love the game and you're really into it, that's me. There's nothing I'd rather be doing.
Yeah.
There's nothing I'd rather be doing.
Startups are like the most addictive thing there is out there. It's the feeling like none other. You're so right. Passion, solve a problem. And if you're committed to it, it's more work than you could possibly ever imagine, but it's also more reward than you could possibly imagine. You are living that. You are the embodiment of it. So thank you so much for being here. This was awesome, dude.
Appreciate it.
High five. Let's do a pound too.
Load up.
Download HireWire. Thanks.
Thanks.